2 years ago today, a gunman drove from Dallas to El Paso to open fire in a Walmart. He specifically targeted Hispanic people. That man killed 23 people. 2 years later, the question is, have we done enough to address instances like this? Here to talk about this is Andy Hogue with the Travis County GOP and Mario Carrillo with America's Voice. Mario, has the governor or the state done enough to protect Texans from crimes like this one?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. And, you know, as an El Pasoan whose family was welcomed to the city as immigrants more than 30 years ago, my heart goes out to the families of the victims on what will always undoubtedly be a very difficult day for those of us who are from there. But to answer your question, no, Governor Abbott has not done enough to protect Texans. If you'll remember, days after the attack on El Paso, Governor Abbott admitted that mistakes had been made and how he and other leaders in our state used certain rhetoric and claimed that there would be a course correction. But now here we are 2 years later, Governor Abbott and Lieutenant Governor Patrick, among many other Republican leaders, continue using rhetoric like invasion when talking about immigrants, which, if you'll remember, are similar words to what the shooter used in his manifesto. And now Greg Abbott is scapegoating migrants for his failures, going so far as to issue an executive order that seeks to limit support of migrants, and it will allow people suspected of transporting migrants to be stopped by law enforcement.
We want to focus on this shooting and this horrible anniversary. Andy Hogue, what can a governor or a state do to prevent crimes like this from happening?
Speaking from Austin, we can refund our police. Cities across Texas are dealing with a push to defund the police and give it to community activists that, frankly, are not equipped to look out for these patterns of racist and white supremacist behavior that needs to be the focus. We already have plenty of options on the books in terms of constitutional carry. We had concealed carry back in 2019. I think that's sufficient to take care of the individual needs, but government can look at what works and apply that, and I believe we have so far.
Mario, what about permitless carry? Will that make Texans more or less safe?
Well, I think it reflects the backwards logic of the Texas Republicans. Making it easier for anyone to get a gun does not make us safer. Making it easier for others to get guns could lead to future attacks like the one on El Paso. And even if you look at polling in a state like Texas, permitless carry is opposed by the majority of Texans, and a majority of Texans support policies like universal background checks.
Andy, how do we stop shootings like this in the future?
Well, first things first, Mike, guns save lives. So getting hands into the average person is a good thing overall. You can't stop a criminal from doing what's illegal. They will find ways around the laws no matter how draconian they are. States with constitutional carry on the books have done quite well. Vermont has had a constitutional carry type law on the books for decades. So I think we've made the right decision here, and I think we'll see the amount of mass shootings decrease by and large. But I do think there are other factors. You don't see anybody blaming suburbs or blaming broken families. Maybe those need to be looked at too, but I think in the meantime, we have a right to defend ourselves.
Mario, the same question. How do we stop these in the future?
I think we have to have policies in place that prevent people like the El Paso shooter to obtain guns. And I think having more people with guns, if there had been more people at that Walmart in El Paso with guns, who knows what that carnage could have been. And also the fact that there were children who were victims there, are we supposed to arm them as well? So I feel like it's a disingenuous argument to say that arming more people will prevent future El Paso attacks from happening.
Okay, a difficult question, a difficult subject on a difficult day. We have to wrap it up. Mario, Andy,
Certainly.
Thank you both very much.
My pleasure.
Thank you.